Hello everyone, and welcome to the third and final part of this series about making a Warhammer-inspired fantasy building out of cardboard. In the previous videos we built the ground floor and the first floor. If you'd like to catch up with those, links are in the description. And now onto the roof. I knew I wanted a pyramidal roof for this piece, so I needed 4 triangles to create the basic shape. The walls of the upper floor are 12.2 cm long, so the base of the pyramid will need to be at least that wide to sit correctly. The height of each floor is 2.5 inches, so I wanted the roof to be around that height too. In order to get that, I calculated the longest side of a right angle triangle running from the middle of one side to the center of the base to the peak. Yes, it's maths, but it's simple maths, nothing scary here. I drew the triangles and extended the height by 1 cm, and the width accordingly. This gave me a bit of an overhang I could use to hide any mistakes. As an experiment, I tried to glue the sides together using super glue. It's a bit messy and I really think I should have used PVA glue instead. PVA sets really fast on card, so drying time is not an issue. To build the chimney, I textured some shapes like I did in the first video of the series, put them together and then glued extra bits of cards to the corners. I also built a dormer window using the exact same techniques I used in the second video of this series. Really liked how this part of the project includes all the techniques I just used. Next, I glued the chimney in place and prepared to add the shingles to the roof. I did not glue the dormer window in at this point, because it would make finishing the other parts a little bit more complicated. Instead, I left it until I had done 3 sides. To make the shingles, I drew a grid of 1 cm by 1.5 cm rectangles. Then drew a wood texture on them, just by running a pen along the long sides. Drew some circles and ovals here and there where there were gaps. This simulates grain and knots in the wood, so don't try to be precise here. Once the texture was drawn in, I cut along the long side of the grid, leaving just a bit on the excess at the end to hold everything together. Then I started to slice along the shorter edges. It helps if you use a piece of scrap card to support the last one in there, as it tends to tear off otherwise. I'm not sure how many of these I used, but there were a lot. Make plenty, you'll probably end up using any leftovers in other projects anyway. To get the shingles in place, I just slobbed some glue on and started placing them on next to each other, starting from the bottom. I wasn't particularly careful about aligning them since I wanted a ramshackle look. But if you're planning to build a roof for the palace of the Grand Duchess of Nuln or something, you might want to be a bit more precise, and maybe use some fancier shapes. Once I reached the end of a row, I just went back and started the next row over, overlapping the pieces a little, and so on until I reached the chimney. When all of one side was done, I trimmed away the excess and moved on to the next side. The cuts turned out a bit rough, but that's okay, I was going to be covering the corners anyway. With 3 of the sides done, I finished the roof of the dormer window in the same way, and glued it on. After that, it was just a case of building up the shingles all around it, in the same way. I trimmed some of the tiles to fit, so I could still get nice offset rows. After all the tiling was done, I cut up some more pieces, folded them in half along the length, and started to glue them over the corners, again starting from the bottom up. This time I glued them with the printed side facing out. This makes their texture different from that on the other shingles, so that will suggest they're made of a different material. After all that, I decided I didn't much like the top of the chimney, so I made a chimney topper in exactly the same way, using clip diamond shaped tiles instead of rectangular ones. This was not part of my original plan, but I liked how it turned out. It makes the building look even more bizarre, and keeps goblins out of the chimney. I didn't glue the topper on just yet, as it would make it harder to paint the chimney properly. Painting this was a piece of cake. I sprayed the whole thing black, and hit it with white from a high angle. Then I painted the chimney in exactly the same way I did the ground floor in the first video. The dormer was done up just like the half timber in the second video. Finally, I painted the shingles and tiles ultramarine blue, then dry brushed them with a mix of ultramarine blue and titanium white. As soon as that was dry, I glued everything on the rest of the model, and voila! I hope you enjoyed watching this video and that you found something useful in it. If you build your own, do give me a shout here or on my Facebook page. I'd love to see what you come up with. If you have any comments or suggestions, please do leave me a comment below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and have a great day.